Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be going over questions where we're going to be looking at the applications of derivatives. Okay, so I'm assuming you guys know how to take the derivative of things already, but if you don't, I can make a separate video about it, but for now we can just continue by looking at this question. So here it says, if a stone is dropped from a cliff that is 122.5 meters high, then its height in meters after t seconds is the equation until it hits the ground. And the question A, it's asking us to find its velocity at 1 and 2 seconds. So if you guys have been paying attention in class, you have the first derivative, you can find the equation for the velocity, and if you take the second derivative, you can find the equation for its acceleration. So because it's asking for velocity, we're going to take the first derivative of this equation. I'll write it out. Okay, so I'll just show you guys by doing it on the board. Here, v equals the derivative. So when you take the derivative, you'll bring the power down, times it with the coefficient, and you'll keep the negative there. Negative 4.9 times 2t, and the constant is always 0, so you don't need to add that. Now plug this into your calculator and you'll get the equation. So the velocity equation is v equals negative 9.8 t. Okay, so because you found the equation v equals negative 9.8 t, you're finding its velocity at 1 second and 2 seconds. So all you have to do is just plug those values into t. So the velocity at 1 second is, you just plug it in, v equals negative 9.8 because you're multiplying it by 1. So at 1 second, the velocity is negative 9.8. And the velocity at 2 seconds is negative 9.8 times 2. Plug that into your calculator. You'll get negative 19.6 meters per second because it's velocity. So there you have your two answers. The velocity at 1 second is negative 9.8 meters per second, and the velocity at 2 seconds is negative 19.6 meters per second. Now let's go to the B part of this question. Okay guys, so part B of the question is asking, when will the stone hit the ground? So the stone will hit the ground when the height is 0. And it's asking for the time, when will the stone hit the ground. So here, the equation that it gave us, we can solve for t by putting h as 0. It's just simple algebra. Here. 0 equals 122.5 minus 4.9 t. You just rearrange the equation to find t on its own. So you'll move the constant first, negative, because you're moving into the side, it turns negative. 122.5 equals negative 4.9 t squared. Sorry, I forgot the square. Okay, now that you have this, you're going to move this by dividing it. And because it's negative, it'll stay negative here. So just divide it by negative 4.9. Now all you have left on this side is just t squared. And because the negatives will cancel out, you'll easily be able to find t by just square rooting this answer. So t is, why is this marker not working? T is the square root of 122.5 by negative, by 4.9. I'm going to plug that in my calculator and then we'll be getting the time. So after plugging it into the calculator, we get that t is equal to 5 seconds. So the stone will hit the ground at 5 seconds. Hopefully that's clear because it was a pretty easy example. Now we'll move on to part C of the question. Okay guys, so here is part C of the question. It's saying, with what velocity will it hit the ground? So part C is just dependent on part A and part B, because in part A, you found the equation for the velocity, which is negative 9.8 t. and you found out at what time the stone will hit the ground, and that was at t equals 5. Now, can you find the velocity? Because you basically have everything you need to find when it hits the ground. All you need to do is just plug t as 5, and you'll find the velocity of when the stone hits the ground. I plugged it into the equation, and I found that negative 9.8 times 5 equals negative 49. And now you have found the velocity at when the stone hits the ground, which is negative 49 meters per second. Okay, guys, these days I'm doing short videos because I want to go over specific examples in detail. So if you guys have any questions or any examples that you don't understand, please leave them in the comments and I can make a video on it. And this was a really easy example of application of derivatives. They're going to get harder. So I'm going to be making more videos on the harder ones as well. So that's all for today. So have a good day. Bye-bye.